I've gone undefeated twice in this week with this deck, and I want to show you guys the evil cancer that we have going on. So starting with the monsters, 2 DD Guide, and 1 Amana Kujiki. This would be a 3rd DD Guide. I just don't have a 3rd one. These are basically, you give them to your opponent, and so you can make Mystic Mine live, and this one basically does the same thing, but I replace him with a guide. But this card's really good. A lot of people play Wabi instead, but I'm actually on DD Guide because it doesn't conflict with Duality. And yeah, it gets imperm sometimes, but it just does not matter. Like it's not going to hurt you if this gets imperm, to be honest. Same with Cyberstein. This also can get impermed or Veilered sometimes, but dude, if this resolves, this is just like another Mystic Mine. Like, you just sit on Last Warrior or Exterio or Blue Eyes Alternative and just stall them out with that. This card's been really crazy, and it's good top deck sometimes too. So that's the monsters. 1 Rhoda to search the DD Guide, 1 Terraforming to search the Broken Mine, 1 Set Rotation, and 1 Oracle of Zephyra. So this is another way to get to mine, and this card is, you cannot activate it unless you have a Zephyr card in your deck while Set Rotation has been is live. And so you give your opponent this, and they can't activate any Meltdowns or any good field spells, Lost World, nothing. So Set Rotation is really crazy. I don't see a lot of people playing it because if your field spell does get popped, you will be locked out of another one, but that's pretty unlikely to happen. So
You just gotta time it right.
yeah, exactly. So Final Countdown is one of the win cons, and the other win con, the really spicy, disgusting, cancerous one, is Rank Up Magic's Astral Force. So obviously Final Countdown, 20 turns, you win. But if that doesn't work, this card makes it so I never deck out, because I put it in the graveyard and I can just keep adding it back to hand over and over again instead of a draw phase. There's a couple other cards that do the same basic thing, but I think this one's the hardest to interact with, and it's also the funniest to me because you never even draw it from your deck. You just keep drawing from your graveyard, basically. A lot of times, so I have resolved this, and pretty much every time someone tries to deck me out and they see me resolve this once, they're just going to go to the next game because, like, you're not going to deck me out, man. My deck's got infinite cards. So 3 Mystic Mine because it's disgusting. Everybody reads this card because they're in disbelief of how broken it is. But I think it's a necessary evil in the game. 3 Extrav, 3 Duality, 1 Demise is my draw power. All I can say is that I think these are perfect ratio. Card Demise is really disgusting. It saved me a match earlier. And I think that's just good ratio for draw cards. Then we got 3 Demise of the Land. This card can't be Ash, but it can be played around by smart opponents. But even then, they're going to have to try to kill you at some point. So usually even the smart players will play into this card. So that's why I max out on it, because it's another way to get to mine. And then Harpy's Feather Duster, because it's really, really good. It's just a sacky card. Blow away all of your opponent's back row, everything that might threaten the mine. People don't see it coming in Mystic Mine either, so they will just set all their back rows if you don't have it. Then we main deck 3 Dark Ruler, because you have to go second sometimes, and going second versus Drytron, this is really what comes in handy. I wish I didn't have to main deck this, but you do, and it definitely is needed. 3 Field Barrier. Field Barrier is really busted. Just protects your mine. I saw someone say they'd play less than 3, but I think you're crazy because this makes your mine live turn 1, and it's just insane. It's one of the best cards in the deck. You got to play 3. Then Called By. Sometimes hand traps like an Ash on a Terra. People will Ash Terraforming versus this deck, so I got to make sure that goes through. And this card's just really strong. Like even without just protecting from hand traps, this card just has a lot of interactions that are really good when they come up. And then 1 Defissure, 1 Macro. These cards almost win me more games than mine. Like, if I get paired up versus Drytron, this just freezes them and they can't play in Tri-Brigade. Like, I swear, these cards win me almost as many games as mine itself. And they have to direct resources away from the mine, so they have to waste a Twin Twister on these before they can even get to you. So those cards are really, really good, really strong. And then this seems like it might conflict with the other 2, but it doesn't. Iron Wall in the main deck. This is for Cosmics, Evenlies, everything that would banish your mind. I think this card is so good in the main deck. It saved my ass so many times because people main deck Cosmics here. This card's just amazing in the main, and I loved it. And yes, it turns off the deep fissure or the macro, but by that time you're going to be so far ahead that it doesn't matter. And also, it prevents your rank up magic card from getting banished. So your win con, I would not even bother using that win con until I have an Iron Wall up. And you'll draw into it eventually with 40 cards, passing turn over and over again. 3 Judgment is the other bit of protection in the main deck. And then the 1 Metaverse is the last card. That's 40 in the main deck, always 40 over here. Judgment's really good, Metaverse really good, what can I say? So on to the extra deck. We've got some random cards in here. Brionac, just some random bullshit. This is for Waking the Dragon target for time. This is Waking the Dragon target for time. This card's funny. This card is just another card another random card. You can cheat it out. This Natis, this actually helped me earlier versus Maximus, so this did come up. 2 Ultimate Falcons. It didn't come up much recently, but sometimes it does, and it's really strong. Nightmare Phoenix for Lost World tokens or something. Blue Eyes Alternative, Last Warrior, and Exterio are the ones I make off of Cyber Sign, although they can be Waking the Dragon targets too. This card got orange lighted earlier. My opponent used orange light because its effect is mandatory even if you don't have any monsters. So that kind of hurt that he took this off the field, but I was able to come back the next turn and beat him. Flops because I just so happen to have 3 of that, and it's good. It also came up earlier and won me a match. And then Mathematic Final Sigma is the last one. Mostly just Waking the Dragon targets and assorted random shit. And then the side deck, we got 1 Pank, really sacky. I even thought about maining this. Card's really good. Helps with like Imperial Order and all that stuff. Anti-spell. This card's so good for breaking boards. Might main deck it. Amano Awado. This card's just 3 more copies of Dark Ruler. Sometimes it's better. I consider maining this because it is not terrible going first, because you can keep it on the field with mine, and then your opponent's kind of double locked. But I don't really think this card is that good going first. I think DD Guide is better going first, because I really don't want to have a monster on the field, even if it is a really strong one like this. Whenever that's come up, it's always hindered me. So I just tried to side this and use it to break boards, and that's what I like it for. 2 Cauldron. It's the only burn cards in the deck. We don't need 3 because I don't want to draw multiple copies turn 1. It's good for time. Prohibition. I prohibited Twin Twisters a couple times today, and it was really strong. And my opponent conceded on the spot. I don't play 3 because I always brick whenever I play 3. I think 2's and then nothing else. 2 Typhoon. Again, more help for Imperial Order and Anti-Spell. It didn't really come up, but whenever those cards do come up, it is nice to have that. Double Waking the Dragon. This card is the king of mind games. People, if they know you play it, they won't even bother wiping your back row. But this actually did win me a couple of games today when I brought out games I otherwise would have lost because I had nothing but just useless back row. They hit this, and it's like you lost the fucking lottery, man, or I won it, because I'm about to bring out something that you can't get over. A lot of times people get over what I bring out from that card, but it just buys me enough time to set up another mine, and they have to expend a lot of resources to get over it, so I really like Waking. And then the last 3 cards in the entire deck is 3 Dark Bribe, just 3 more copies of Judgment, basically. Yeah, this card came in pretty clutch. It's just nice being able to negate whatever you want and mill your opponent a little bit. And that's the deck. This is Nick from Mystic Mind Shrine. Keep it cancerous, keep it stun heavy, fucking signing out. Peace.